Both prosecutors and defense attorneys present their case. Tony Pipitone is back with us now. And Tony, last week the state took the death penalty off the table. Is it possible that they're able to bring it back now?
Oh, yeah, they are, Jackie. The state attorney's office tells me it can change the charges and the penalties that it seeks anytime before a jury is picked or Casey Anthony enters a plea. And our legal experts say today's discovery of a body that is likely Kaylee's changes just about everything. Assuming this van contains the remains of Caylee Anthony, defense attorney Cheney Mason and former prosecutor Elizabeth Rotter agree things do not look good for her accused murderer. And what does it do for the state's case now that there's a body?
It hugely bolsters the case. I mean, a jury is always a little reluctant to convict because they're afraid about, you don't want to convict an innocent person. Absolutely, you would not want to do that. So now there's going to be no doubt that she's dead.
And Mason says claims that Caylee was really alive all this time, made by Casey, her attorney, and her family, will now work against them when this goes to trial.
And all that talking and all the press interviews and the parents going on this show and that show and the lawyer going to different shows establishes they have no credibility whatsoever.
Still, a lot depends on what tests reveal about those remains.
The most important thing is, how did she die? It could have been an accidental death, as we've talked before, and an improper disposal. It could have been an outright brutal homicide. We don't know, and until the medical examiner is finished and renders a report, no one's going to know.
But the former prosecutor says an accidental death defense would certainly be hard to swallow.
What would a reasonable person do in a case of an accident? You call 911, or you call your parents, or you call a close friend. Do you go borrow a shovel from a neighbor? Probably not.
And, as disturbed as Casey may be, an insanity defense would be even harder.
It's really difficult to not be criminally responsible. You only have to really prove two things: that they know right from wrong and they understand the consequences for their actions. And obviously, Casey understood the consequences for her actions because she worked really hard to cover it up.
So our experts wind up agreeing that if it all plays out as many expect,
you can pretty well predict that there's going to be a life sentence. And either on plea and get it over with, or have a circus trial and then be convicted and then get life.
And Elizabeth, do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Or do you see life in prison in her future?
Yeah.
Of course, as we said, we asked our experts to assume the body was Kaylee's, and there's always a chance both sides could reach some sort of plea agreement that could involve something less than a life sentence. But our former prosecutor said if Casey Anthony really did this as it is alleged, is that dangerous a criminal, perhaps it's best for everyone that she spend the rest of her life in prison.